All right, what is going on, Laker fans? Thank you very much for tuning in. Appreciate you guys being a part of the post-game show here. Unfortunately, another L for the Lakers. So not a lot of positive things to talk about as we get the post-game show started. Just trying to go live on Instagram here real quick. Another L for the Lakers. Yeah, this is bad. I got to be honest with everybody. This is bad. This is another bad loss for the Lakers. It's the start of a 4-game road trip. You've lost 3 games in a row. Really, when you should be trying to make your move in the Western Conference, the Lakers are actually going back the other way. It's just kind of the reality of the situation right now, and they got some work to do. Let's just put it that way. A lot of frustrations in today's game. A lot of things to kind of hit on that I think are starting to get to me watching this Lakers team. But was it just me, or did it just feel like this game was a game in December or something like that? The Lakers, nonchalant. No big deal. You get a win, you don't get a win, it's fine. That's what it felt like to me. It felt like they started out the game. There's something that I hate watching, and I used to see some of this with LeBron and Anthony Davis last year, this year. They would start out games a certain way where they were all in, but the moment they got punched in the chin, it's like they didn't have a counter punch. Let me explain what I'm referring to. And I was watching a little bit of the post-game show on Spectrum before I came on. That's what I usually do as I'm kind of setting up a few things, getting my thumbnail ready. By the way, can I just tell you guys something? When I get my thumbnail ready, usually I have Lakers over, you put the team, and then I put the score. The last 3 thumbnails I've done in the post-game show, I don't need to change the Lakers part. I just have to change who beat the Lakers. So I'm just putting Bucks over Lakers and then the score. I'm putting Bulls over Lakers, Magic over Lakers. I mean, it's making my editing very easy. But let me tell you what I mean, just kind of part of my frustration watching this team right now. I'm watching Spectrum, and I didn't know if they were going to point it out. It didn't matter. That's kind of how I was going to start off the show. I don't know what the hell the Lakers were doing to close out the first half. They go up 9, and they're relaxing. They're chilling. Like, hey, no big deal. Yeah, we're up 9. Yeah. Let's don't worry about closing out the quarter strong. Go up 9, and then a 7-0 run. Awful plays, dumb plays. Getting 2-for-1s. I think they scored. There was enough for potentially 1 possession for the Magic if the Lakers just took a shot at the right time. Instead of turnover, they get a bucket with 31 seconds left, and then the Lakers miss, and then Paolo Banchero goes to the free throw line. Next thing you know, you're looking at the score. I'm like, it's a 2-point game. They were just up 9. I thought the end of the first half was so critical to the Lakers because you can either take this game one way or the other. All right, you're up 9. You get a couple solid stops. Maybe you get this to 10 or 11 before you get to halftime. I don't know what Orlando's going to do. I have no idea. I'm not saying Orlando's not talented because they have players, but they've been very, very they've had a lot of injuries this year, but now they're fresh. They're ready to go. Of course, they're ready to go against the Lakers. But the way they ended the first half, awful. The way they came out in the third quarter, and I think this is the point that I'm trying to make. And Lakers went on a little bit of run there in the fourth quarter, but it really was a fugazi, as we like to call it. But the third quarter, just sleepwalking again. They give up 34 in the third quarter. They only score 18. Shot selection was bad. Orlando kind of doing anything they wanted to do. I want to go to one other sequence that I want to mention here real quick. Lakers take the lead from 17 or the deficit. They're down 17. They get it all the way down to 7. They go on a 10-0 run. They need a big stop. Franz Wagner goes by Luka like he's not even there. I watched Luka a couple possessions defensively. Can I tell you guys a pet peeve of mine? The NBA, everyone's in such a hurry to inbound the ball and go. It's like they don't give a flying you-know-what about the defensive side. At least back in the days in the NBA, at least you took a little bit more pride in making it look like you had some effort on the defensive side. Wagner scores on Luka Doncic like he's not there. Awful defense from Luka at a really critical time in the game. And nobody cares. It's like, yeah, just inbound the ball, start going down on the other end. Wagner then seals off LeBron. Really, I mean, it's kind of funny. When I first saw it, I'm like, who's Wagner sealing off? That can't be LeBron. The way he used his body work, the way that Orlando moved the ball to the corner to get him the proper position to get him the ball, Wagner scores it too. And then this is 3 possessions in a row, maybe not identical, but it was 7 points in a row for Franz Wagner. And then Wagner just tees up a 3 in the face of Rui Hachimura. Not enough space. You kind of saw that a couple different times. Banchero was getting any shot that he wanted. What happened to that Lakers defense that we were talking about over the course of this last month or so? What happened to that team that, certainly looked like the fight was there? And I said this again in the Bulls game. I said that it's going to take LeBron a quick second. It's going to take Rui a quick second. The Lakers just lost 2 games to 2 teams fighting for the play-in spot. I don't care how well they're playing. I don't care who's on their team. They lost 2 games against 2 teams fighting for the play-in spot in the Eastern Conference. Do you know what your record has to be in order to be fighting for positioning in the Eastern Conference for a play-in spot? I'll tell you what it needs to be. 100% below 500, but the question is how many games below 500? Well, if you're Orlando, you're 4 games below 500. If you're Chicago, you're 9 games below 500. That's who the Lakers just lost to. Again, I'm not telling you Chicago's not playing good basketball. I'm not telling you Orlando doesn't have talent. But if you're trying to compete in the West with the big boys, if you're trying to compete with all of those teams, these are games that, let's put it this way, you can't lose both of them. Can you split these games? I mean, you still got 4 total road games left or 3 more road games after this. You're only down to 11 games. After the loss tonight, Lakers now have the same record as Memphis. They could very easily start off the playoffs with having to go on the road the entire way. So that's how I kind of looked at the game. I haven't even really looked at some of the scores and the results, but let me look at the box score real quick. Let me first look at Orlando. I don't mind if guys go off on you because they're good players, they're talented players, but Paolo Banchero shot over 50%. Franz Wagner shot 50%. Banchero also got to the free throw line, was 10 to 12. They had 62 combined points. Franz Wagner also had 9 assists on top of his 32 points. They just did whatever the hell they wanted. Anthony Black, 17 off the bench. KCP with 9. Wendell Carter Jr. with 12 and 8. Just no answer for the Lakers. For the Lake Show, by the way, just offensively looking at the Lakers here. Luka, 9 of 23. Took a lot of bad shots, by the way, to start out the game. 9 of 23 for him. Reeves was 7 of 16. They combined 5 of 16 from the 3-point line. That they were really bad from that department. LeBron, 9 of 18 from the field, ended up playing 38 minutes for the Lakers, 24 points, 7 assists. Dorian Finney-Smith had 14. Nothing from the Lakers bench. 5 from Rui, 4 from Gabe Vincent, 1-3 for Dalton Knecht. That's it. They had nothing after that. So, lot to point out, lot to talk about. A really frustrating loss, and maybe the frustration, I don't think it has to do just with this game. I think the frustration has more to do with the way the Lakers have played in these last 3 games. You basically wave the white flag against the Bucks and have no interest in playing in that game because you want to rest your guys to get ready. You just played 6 of 8. You want to kind of give them that proper rest to go for this final stretch. Then you play 2 games in a row where you can't beat the Eastern Conference playing teams, the East playing teams. You're making Kobe White look like Scottie Pippen out there. You're making I'm a fan of the young players of the Orlando Magic, but they're going to outplay Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reeves by that much. They had 62 combined. Those 2 players had better stats than the 3 players for the Lakers that are supposed to be leading this team. So from all those perspectives, I thought tonight was a really, really frustrating loss. All right, let me look at a couple of the comments here, and we'll get things going here. Let me try to go out to the start here. Banchero and Wagner had their ways with Vando and DFS. They had their ways with anybody. And I want to also say this, and something to keep in mind. They're hunting certain players. Hunting. Do you guys remember a couple of days ago last week when, it was something that it was something that the timing of it wasn't great, but when Amin Elhassan was on, I think the timing of it was, no, Lakers were playing good basketball. I still thought at that time, had injuries, were going to come back, but he said what he was worried about is the size and the defense. In these last 2 games, size and defense has been problems, and hunting. They just All right, set a screen so that it's Luka Doncic that has to guard Franz Wagner. Austin Reeves has to guard Franz Wagner. Whatever the case is, you pick whichever player it was. Yeah, those guys did whatever they wanted to do against the Lakers. All right, let's take a look some more comments here. Let me see what else we got here. We're not touching OKC first round exit or play-in exit. Don't. Are we doing this now? Oh man, are we? And I'll get into it in a little bit. I don't want to do it just yet because I know they're probably going to get to JJ Redick. If Spectrum goes to break, no, they're going to JJ right now. Let's take a quick listen. Here's JJ on the Lakers loss. Take a listen.
And just the shots Orlando was able to get.
Yeah, we had a really good intention to start the game.
I'm with him on that to start the game.
We tried to clean some things up in film today. We still got to clean some things up with some of our execution of coverages.
With LeBron and Rui coming back, ramping up, how much kind of grace are you allowing for the team to find a rhythm and all that versus what you're seeing defensively just not quite look the same?
Yeah, we're going through it a little bit, and we got to get back into the flow and the rhythm and those guys. I think it's not just them getting back into their flow, but it's the group and how the group functions.
Yeah. JJ, I know you just mentioned the group, but on an individual level, when we talk about players getting into rhythm and shaking off the rust, I think mostly we talk about them on offense. LeBron had been such like an anchor for you guys defensively.
Yeah.
Is there rust on that side of the ball too? Is it the same activity level, the same talk as he's tried to kind of get back?
Nobody was good against Chicago. He was much better tonight.
JJ, you spoke to us pregame about the success that Franz had against you guys in LA. When you guys cut it to 7 in the fourth, it was kind of Franz taking over a bit. Mm-hmm. Was that, obviously his talent, or was there anything defensively that you would have liked to see there?
Not letting him get to his right hand would be one. I think overall, as the game wore on, we have a phrase, redding up or red up when we switch, and we were very much passive when we switched onto the ball. Banchero hit a 3 on that, and when you don't red up against a guy like Wagner, he's now got a step into your airspace with thrust and momentum, and he's hard to stop.
We've talked about you've talked about grace, and you even talked about the bad defensive habits pregame that developed. Does it feel like there's enough time to make this, I guess, quick fixes, or does it feel like you can make quick references to when you guys were doing some of these things early in the season, so I guess turn it around quicker?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think it'd be nice. We're going to hopefully get some court time in Indiana on Wednesday. I think there is time, but we've got to be very strategic about how we use that time outside of games.
Coach, we saw a different attitude defensively against Denver. What does it take for you to see your team going to that level of intensity?
It wasn't just against Denver. We had it for about 25 games. We can get back there. There's, I think a couple guys maybe from the schedule and being in and out of the lineup, and a couple guys being injured, I don't know. We look tired, and I don't know what contributes to that. That happens periodically throughout a season where the group gets
3
tired.
and 7 in last 10.
That's what it feels like right now. Again, we weren't able to sustain our level of intensity that we started the game with, and our guys, I thought, started out really well.
Can I tell you something funny? And this hasn't happened often this year when I've listened to JJ. I don't know what he was talking about. I almost feel like he was almost had a loss of words, maybe a little shock, maybe a little, hey, I don't know if I have an answer for this right now. 3-7 in last 10 games at one of the most critical times of the year. Some of those you can justify because of the, obviously the injuries that the Lakers have had. But I'll tell you the ones you can't justify, just to kind of make it simple. You can't justify the loss of the Chicago Bulls. You can't justify the loss of the Brooklyn Nets. Those are the two. After that, whatever happens, happens. But he didn't really look like he was. He really looked like he was. I don't know. He looked like he didn't know what to say, if that's the best way that I can put it. He said how many different times. What did he say about? I thought we started off really well. It's like, all right, okay. You got to play 4 quarters here. I don't know if you guys kind of noticed that, but that's the first time that I saw that. Maybe I'm not walking away very confident from that JJ post game. Maybe that's what I'm referring to. Sometimes, JJ could come in. He's a little bit fiery. He's ticked off. He's pissed off. Sometimes even with wins, he looks like, hey, we could have done a lot better if we can clean that up, clean this. That almost looked like I don't got an answer for you. I don't know what to tell you. That's what that one felt like. Yeah, I don't have an answer for you tonight. That's a little bit what that felt like. Thomas, Lakers peaked too early. I hate to do this. I hate to say this because when I was doing my show this morning, the Sliwa show, 8 a.m., by the way, when I was doing the show, I tried making an argument that did the Lakers peak too early? But I was like, no, they haven't. I think they're a good team. And I thought tonight they would actually come out, and I thought this road trip is going to be really, really critical. And I thought it was going to tell a lot about who this team was. But you lost the first one. I said you got to at least go 2-2 on this 4-game road trip. You got at Indiana coming up on Wednesday. That's a tough one. You got at Chicago that dropped 146 on you the next night, second of a back-to-back. Then you got at Memphis coming up on Saturday. Memphis obviously has got a lot to play for. That head-to-head against the Lakers is a critical game. So we'll see what it is. Michael, Lakers are 13-15 against the East, 30-13 against the West. Well, I'd rather have the 30-13 in the West against the West. Guys, the last 3 games, we're not even giving ourselves a chance at the end of the game. Wow. Yeah, there is something about that. I will tell you, it's one thing to lose a game, but they lost 118-89 in Milwaukee, 146-115 against Chicago, 118-106 against Orlando. All these games are ugly. All of them. Every single one of them are ugly. All right, what does this do to the Lakers in the standings? I was trying to avoid it. I was hoping nobody would ask. I was hoping nobody would bring it up as a conversation. I was hoping everybody would just say, hey, Al, thanks for the show tonight. We appreciate you coming on and doing double duty tonight. Have a great evening. That's what I hope people are going to do. But I know that's not possible. There's a lot of other games going on. I'm not going to share the standings. I'm just going to point out where the Lakers are. They're now game and a half behind Denver, 2.5 behind Houston, 2 in the loss column. Tied with Memphis, 43-28, 43-28. Both teams going in the wrong direction. Both teams have lost 3 games in a row. Here's the problem. 28 losses for the Lakers, 30 for the Warriors, 31 for the Clippers. So some teams getting close. Teams getting close. That's the problem. The problem is if you keep sliding here over these final 11 games, if you go 5-6 over these final 11, you can find yourself in that 6 or 7 spot. I know there's a lot of games going on, so it's tough to kind of do a standings in the middle. Nuggets are up 2 on Chicago. They're still in the second quarter, so that game's got to play out. What other games will have some impact? Timberwolves already beat the Pacers. Mavs beat the Nets. Anthony Davis came back in that game. I didn't see his stats. I'll get to that in a little bit here. Austin Reeves is talking. Let's see what Reeves got to say about the Lakers' loss. We'll see how much we already missed.
As a collective group, every single possession, we got to have 5 guys on the string.
Chicago and Orlando have both played well, played hard, so they've been good tests in that sense. Were there similarities between the 2 games you felt like on that end of the floor? And then are there any kind of specifics you can refer to?
They both shot the ball well from 3. We gave up too many points. through 3 quarters. Fourth quarter was a little better, but still not to the standard that we want. So we got to get back to Garden, like I said, with 5 guys and everybody being, connected on a string. And if anybody gets beat, low man's got to be there. The X has got to be ready. So, yeah.
How hard has been the chemistry of the team? Guys coming out, coming in to develop that chemistry so far?
I mean, that happens throughout the course of a year multiple times. So, I don't think that, that's the problem. We're happy to, get everybody back healthy and like I said, have everybody on the court. We just got to, be better than we have been the last 2 nights.
All right, final one here.
JJ Schiller's that Nate said in coaches meeting, it's like a good defense, a good team defense is a talking team defense. As you guys have tried to kind of recapture the things you're doing well on that side of the ball, how do you feel the level of talk has been? Is that has been good enough?
In spurts, I think it has been, but that's not good enough. If you get what I'm saying, you can't be when you're getting stops. You can't just be talking. Like, if they score a couple possessions, it's okay. Like, they're gonna score. You got to continue to do that even when you go a couple possessions without getting a stop. You got to be consistent on that end. I thought we started off the game tonight with a lot of communication, and then when they go on a little bit of a run, I think we kind of get quiet a little bit. We can't do that. You got to continue to figure things out through the flow of the game, and not just talk when things are going good.
That's kind of the point that I was trying to make, is that this reminded me a little bit of, I think it's important to listen to what Austin Reeves just said right there. Start of the game, things are going well. They're talking, they're communicating. Everybody's, on their, everyone's pulling the rope in the same direction. Then you get punched in the chin and it's like nobody starts saying anything. I mean, I like what he said there at the end. It's easy to have those high fives and those conversations when things are rolling, when you got a couple stops, when Luka's hitting some step back threes and things along those lines, and Hayes is catching lobs and Dorian Finney-Smith's hitting corner shots. Great. But when all that stuff's not happening, that's the most important time. That's the most important time to figure out if you're connected. That's the most important time to make sure that these guys are having the proper communication, that you're challenging certain players. You got to be doing this. You got to be doing that. Didn't seem like the Lakers are doing that, especially over this little stretch here. Seiko, thank you for the super, brother. Was 2 months best league defense just a gimmick? That's just too long. It's too large of a sample size to say that, hey, whatever they were for that is not good enough. What was one of the questions came to JJ Redick, and I think somebody was asking, I can't remember exactly the question, but JJ said, well, we were doing it for 20 plus games. So it's not I think to answer your question, Seiko, I mean, at some point teams are going to start adjusting. At some point teams are going to start looking at the Lakers and saying, okay, I see what they're trying to do here. And as teams are getting accustomed to Luka and they're getting accustomed to other assistant coaches and scouts on the other teams that are focusing just on the Lakers because they got a matchup coming up against the Lakers. Hey, here's how they lost to Chicago. Here's how we can expose them. Hey, here's how they beat Denver. Here's what I think we could do against them. Maybe there's just more and more film coming out on the Lakers, and now they're less of a surprise. I'll tell you this. We'll find out because there's 11 games left. And over these 11 games, we're going to have a great idea of looking at if some gimmick action going on here with the Lakers, if it's a fugazi, or no. It was still real. They're in a tough little stretch. You had LeBron out. You had Rui out. Then you were trying to bring them back in, and you had a game where you sat everyone against Milwaukee, but it certainly hasn't looked good. All right, let's get another one here. EMD, ironically, Magic were blazing, lost stars to injury, and haven't been the same since. Lakers are going through it now. Lakers rested instead of building chemistry during a crucial time. I'll tell you guys something that's kind of funny. I think a lot of people are really ticked at the Lakers sitting all those guys against Milwaukee. And I get it. Like I told you guys when I did that post game show, I'm like, we sure? We sure we don't want to play those guys? You got a day off. 2 of the next 3 days you have off. You sure you don't want to play Luka and Austin Reeves in this game and then have them relax on Friday and Saturday figure things out, get things ready for the Chicago Bulls? You're going to have LeBron back. You're going to have some of these guys. But the answer was no. They took that game off. But I see it in a lot of the comments, and I was reading a lot of things this morning. People kept saying, especially after the Lakers lost to Chicago, they're like karma. That's what karma is. You can't mess with the basketball gods. Might be right. I don't know. I'll say a prayer tonight. We'll see what happens. Lakers peak too early. Okay, I read some of these already. They're getting out hustled. Is it me or the Lakers just can't beat teams under 500? All right, let me go through the. I keep doing this now. I keep like we're adding squads now. Here are the teams the Lakers have lost to since that San Antonio Spurs after the wildfires that are all under 500. See if I do it off the top of my head. San Antonio, Utah, Charlotte, Brooklyn, Chicago, Orlando. Maybe I missed one in there. All those teams below 500. So it's six games. I mean, these teams below 500, you go 3-3 against, and your record is wildly different. You're in the number 2 seed right now. But you go 0-6 against those teams, that's a problem. That's a problem. And I'm probably missing one in there. I don't even know which one I'm missing, but there's probably a good chance that I'm missing one. All right, let me take a look at some more comments here. Sleep. Why isn't DK getting any playing time? The best thing I could tell you here, by the way, I'm just going to say this again. EMD, thank you for the super, brother. Very, very nice of you to do that. Seiko, thank you for the super as well, brother. I want to make sure I point that out. Why isn't DK getting playing time? My problem with him not getting playing time, I'll tell you what it is. My problem is it looked like he was starting to get in a little bit of a rhythm, and it looked like he was starting to help out the Lakers. And I think if you ask me why isn't he getting playing time, I think it's just seniority. That's it. Gabe's in there. They're going to pick Gabe first. Dorian Finney-Smith, obviously, that's an easy one. Jordan Goodwin's had some good minutes, so I think he brings more from a defensive perspective, which I think they like. Rui Hachimura just got back. He's going to get some minutes. I think it's more seniority. And now when he plays, he's going to get very, very minimal spot minutes. How many minutes did he play? And I'm just curious to know, because how do you get in a rhythm playing 5 minutes? That's what he played. You can't. It's impossible. Especially if you start thinking I'm only going to get 5. So if I get up a shot or two, it's not a good shot or it's a bad shot. Now I'm getting pulled. That's a tough one for him. I'm sure that's a tough one for him. LeBron looked every bit of 40 tonight. He had a couple of those moments. He is 40, so looked his age. HH, thank you, brother. Very, very nice of you. You've done that a couple times. I appreciate that. Want you to know that is very, very well appreciated. Let's get another one here. I haven't watched our last 3 games. Sorry, fellas. JJ got to switch things up. Teams look like they got complacent once Bron got back. Team looks like they got complacent. Number 1, thank you for the super. Number 2, if you haven't watched the last 3 games, how the hell are you going to tell us what they should do? I wish I was you and I didn't watch these last 3 games. The last 3 games were bad. Really, really ugly. Can I cheap's tickets? Can you help us out here? Maybe this is the problem, is that you haven't been watching. They lost 3-0, so can you go ahead and watch on Wednesday when they take on the Indiana Pacers? We need you. We need you in that game. All right, let me get some more comments here. We got a lot coming in here. Let's keep looking at these. Rui sucks. I wouldn't go that far, but definitely is going to take time to come back. Guys, he was playing really well before he got injured. So I'm not one to say, hey, that's it. He's, Rui's lost. He's going to play awful the rest of the year. DK should get minutes because Luka and LeBron were zeros on defense. Whole squad, what happened to their D? By the way, they're not going to win games. I mean, I think we talked about this before. You guys remember when they went through that stretch where they played, I think, 6 games where the 6 or 7 games where they're giving up 102 points or less. That's the way you're going to have to win games. And if they don't have the personnel to do it, that's a different story. Then it's going to be an early exit from the playoffs. But if you can't get stops, especially if you get in the playoffs, and you're depending on Luka dropping 35 and Bron giving you 30 and AR and all these guys being efficient, it's going to be a quick stop in the playoffs. Now, if you get back to getting the stops that you were getting, it's a different conversation. It's a different story. But they have not been able to do that these last few games. Look at one other thing here. I'm curious, even when they were winning some games, how many points were they giving up? Gave 108 against Denver, 109 against San Antonio, 96 against Phoenix. You can live with all that. When they were losing games, when they were on that 4-game losing streak, they gave up 131, 126, 111, and 111. So that tells you a little bit about the Lakers defensively as well. All right, DFS is talking. Let's take a listen to Dorian Finney-Smith on the Lakers' loss.
We in the game together. That third quarter was tough. We let our offense mess up with our defensive energy, and it was just tough to, fight back.
Do you get the sense of like the NBA, there are the ebbs and flows to it, but obviously playoffs are coming up soon. Do you feel like you guys do have enough time to get back to that level?
For sure. We needed the adversity. Especially being a new team, we get to learn a lot about each other. During tough times, you usually don't see things when you're winning. So we got the chance to, grow, and we're gonna use this opportunity to grow.
Is there one area of the game tonight that you're like, if we clean this up, we'll give ourselves a better chance in Indiana?
For sure. Just gotta rotate a little quicker and box out. But I feel like that third quarter, we let our offense mess with our defensive energy.
Is there?
Take one more.
JJ's talking about over the past couple of weeks, some of the bad habits developed defensively. With only 11 games left, I guess is there confidence you guys can get back to that level because you have reference points of what it looked like at a higher level defensively?
Yeah, for sure. We told on ourselves. We showed we can do it. So, it's up to us. We got to hold each other accountable and do it. We're asking to help each other, sit in gaps, and that required a lot of effort and energy, and we got to put a 48-minute game together.
I'll take DFS talking any given night. I like that. Kind of calls out the team. We could definitely get back to it. I think our offense not clicking affected the Lakers defensively. Can't happen. I was just talking about how critical it's obviously going to be for the Lakers to get that defense back. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what the Lakers do. But I think it's very, very easy to see in these last few games, if they don't have an answer for defense, there's not going to be an answer for grabbing some W's. So something to keep in mind there. All right. I'm going to take a look at more of your guys' comments here in just a second. I'm not sure if Bron or Luka will talk as well. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. We'll kind of wait around a second for that. But I do want to talk about our partner here, our sponsor here, who's been a fantastic partner of the channel, fantastic sponsor of the morning show that I do. Shout out to Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. If you or someone was in a serious injury, you should reach out to Brad Wallace. Let him walk you or your family through your legal options. I'm sure it's a very intimidating and daunting process. Let an expert in the field help you. He can help anybody in the state of California. So if this applies to you, I hope you never need him. I hope you never need the URL that we created, wallacewins.com/Sliwa. But life happens, and predicaments happen, and situations happen. And I just want everybody to know that's on this channel. If you need a personal introduction to Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm, I could make that for you. Really good dude. He came on the podcast last week. He's a big supporter. Him and I used to work together when I was at 710. He's somebody that advertised with me there, is kind of following me on my journey on YouTube. And he's somebody that I would feel very, very confident if you're in a position where serious injury, a wrongful death, or anything along those lines, to make an introduction to you. I know he'll take care of you. Again, he can help anybody in the state of California. So shout out to Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. Okay, let's keep rolling here. Lakers lose to the Orlando Magic 118-106. It's 3 losses in a row. Lakers now 15-19 on the road this season. I had a guy arguing with me this morning. He wasn't even arguing. He was just making the point. I was talking about how important it's going to be. You want those game sevens at home. You want to have home court advantage in the playoffs. I'm not saying that, Luka and LeBron can't win a game 7 on the road, but Lakers are now flirting with the 5th or 6th seed, not that 2-3. They're going the other way. And to just look at this, 15-19 on the road means something. It does. When you're not at Crypto.com Arena, you're not the same team. So, and the last thing you want is, of course, if I had to rank here what you're avoiding here, you want to avoid the play-in tournament, number 1. Number 2 is you want to have home court for at least a round. If you come in and you're the number 6 seed and your first round matchup is, I'm just making it up, it's Lakers-Denver on the road. So that means you got to go Denver in the first round and whoever it is in the second round, and then get OKC waiting for you in the Western Conference Finals. But you're going to have to go 3 rounds on the road. So that record of 15-19 tells a little bit of the stories why you'd obviously like to avoid it. All right, let's see what we got here. Tim's back, guys. Timmy's back. Let's take a look at Tim's comment. Tim, if you could just have a normal conversation on here, we can definitely have a conversation. Okay? Let me read your comment here, and let's see if we can have just a regular conversation. Let's give it a shot here. We're going to try this, Timmy. Just because OKC was beaten by the Mavs before doesn't mean it's going to happen again this year. OKC is built differently this year. OKC in 6, they do have experience in the playoffs. All right. Just say this here real quick. We're making strides here. I think you have some fair points in there. I do agree with you that just because OKC lost to the Mavs and Luka last year doesn't mean it's going to happen this year. I agree with that. I also agree that they do have some experience, and they added a couple guys, Isaiah Hartenstein, Alex Caruso. They added guys that actually have some playoff experience as well. See? See how easy that was? You keep it like this, and we can actually have a good dialogue and a good conversation. But you say stupid stuff or you're disrespectful to people, then you got to go. There's nothing I could do about it. 99.9% of the people on here are all cool as hell, respectful, Laker fans, NBA fans, get angry, get happy, the whole thing. Just don't be an idiot. That's all. That's all I got for everybody. All right, let's keep going here. And like I said, I think there are some points in there. I do agree. Whatever happened last year doesn't mean it's going to happen this year. Okay, let's take a look at some of the comments here. Lakers have been getting rocked. Is it a trend? B, I'll say something here, and kind of threw me off though. JJ said they seem tired. In my head, I'm like, all right, they seem tired. Okay, but they sat out the game against Milwaukee. Did that help them at all? Okay, well, clearly didn't help them against Chicago. If they got a little bit of extra rest, it didn't help them. LeBron and Rui were both just out for 2 to 3 weeks, maybe even more than that. I don't know how many weeks Rui was out. How many weeks Rui was out for. And then maybe you could say, okay, AR, Luka, any of these players. But isn't that the entire league? Isn't that the entire NBA? Let's put it this way. If the Lakers are tied and then all of a sudden that's going to change things, then we're going to have some problems. Amir almost bought the channel when Lakers beat, I think it was Denver. Amir basically almost bought the channel. Amir, welcome back, and thank you for the super, brother. I appreciate you. B, thank you for the super. Cheaps tickets, thank you for the super. I appreciate it. Okay, Amir, I know defense is about effort, but I see our last 3 games and think to myself, damn, imagine if we had an athletic, big-bodied center in the middle outside of Hayes. Well, we're all kind of talking there for a little bit that maybe this was a blessing in disguise that they didn't get Mark Williams. And I think a lot of us were saying that for one specific reason. We were saying that because of the situation, the predicament. Did they give up too much? Will they have more options in the summer? I think that also all kind of came with the conversation. But there was also a reason why the front office was saying, we need another big. Jackson Hayes is going to do what he can. But Jackson Hayes, a lot of the success that he's had has been predominantly because the success that he's had has been predominantly because he's got Luka putting the ball on a tee for him. That's been the main reason why they've had that success. Amir, thank you for the super, brother. I appreciate you. Appreciate you very much. Okay. See what else we got here. Let's see what we got here. The Lakers are Lakers setting up their seeding? Impossible. No. To answer your question, no. If you just win, the seeding is going to take care of everything for you. And right now, what's happening is they're going in the wrong direction. And there are too many teams close together to even try any of that stuff, right? And you got too many games left before the season ends. So no, I don't think any of that stuff's happening. I really don't. Okay, I'm going to put something here in the chat. If you're not an MVP member yet, I just want to plug this real quick. It's $3 a month to be an MVP member. Would love to have as many members as possible. We're doing a show every Friday after my morning show where we just kind of plan for the week, get some ideas, things we liked, plan for the following week. I'm trying to involve those that are members as much as I possibly can. I want them to have a stake in what the shows look like. B just gifted one Hoops Talk member an MVP membership. So B, thank you very much for doing that. I appreciate it. And then B followed that up with another comment. Go Lakers, go Slee. If you want to be a member, would love to have you be a member. It's a great way to support the channel, $3 a month. All right, let's keep going here. You know, I don't know if Luka and LeBron are going to talk. I'm going to give it a couple more minutes, and then we'll go from there. Let's talk a little bit about the next game that the Lakers got coming up. I'm going to look here real quick because I'm curious if they got Indiana. By the way, another early tip-off, 4:30. I'm not going to be able to start the post-game show, just a heads up, right after the game. I'm going to start the post-game show at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock on Wednesday, I will start the post-game show. So something just to keep in mind. Lakers got Pacers coming up on Wednesday. And I'm going to jump here as I'm doing this. I'm just going to give everyone a quick idea how the Pacers have been playing. This is a tough game against the Indiana Pacers. They're pretty solid in the Eastern Conference. 13 games over 500, won 5 in a row, 7-3 in their last 10, 42-29, trying to beat off trying to make sure that they keep behind them the Milwaukee Bucks, who are 40-30. So there's 10 games right there. Trying to hold off is what I was trying to say. Trying to hold off the Milwaukee Bucks. And I kind of sit here and we're watching all this. Here are the teams that they've beat: Minnesota, Dallas, Brooklyn, and Minnesota. They got one loss to Milwaukee. Before that, they had won a couple of games. They beat Philly, they beat Milwaukee. They're not beating the best teams in the league, but they're beating good enough teams in the league. That's a tough game coming up. All right, Luka's talking. Let's take a quick listen to Luka Doncic giving his thoughts on the Lakers' loss.
Point lead until they have that good run to end the second quarter. Do you feel like there were elements of it tonight?
Yeah, I think we started the game that way, especially that first half. I think we were playing great defense. You know, I think they made some tough shots in the first half. And the way we play first half, I think we got to play the whole game. The game of basketball was not just 24 minutes. It's got to be all 48.
Luka, Dorian told us post-game that he thought the third quarter offensive struggles that you had seeped into the defensive effort. Who's it incumbent upon when that happens? Who on the team should be speaking up or can recognize that and try to change that midstream versus have that happen the entire quarter?
I honestly think it should be not just one person. It should be everybody. Everybody should be able to. Obviously, not always going to be everybody, but I think me and Bron, I think we should be the guys, you know, to do that. And that's on me. Obviously, I got to do better. I got to talk more. And I think I talked in first half. than just kind of voice down, and I shouldn't do that.
Luka, you referenced that 8-game winning streak. I think you guys are now 6-7 in March. Guys have been in and out of the lineup. Some have been hurt. Some have had, back-to-backs and schedule and all that stuff. Like, what's just the overall rhythm of this month been like for this team? And what's it been like trying to fight through it, I guess?
I mean, always just hard, but we get paid to do that, so that shouldn't be an excuse. Everybody at some point has a tough schedule, so that shouldn't be an excuse. And we gotta look at how we're playing. We just gotta be better. There's no other thing to say.
Luka, you referenced the 8-game winning streak. You guys played high level defense for 25 games before you were here, including after you got major debut. Does the fact that you guys played at that level, play with that physicality, play with that attention to detail, give you confidence that you guys, I guess, can fast track things in these last 11 games to get back to where you guys want to be?
Yeah, we definitely need to get back. Like Jay just said, we told ourselves, we know we can do it. And we just got to look back and maybe watch some film from those games, how we play. We're physical, we're flying around. And, we told ourselves, and we know we can do it.
Luka, hemos visto un equipo de los Lakers cuando están en alta defensivamente con la energía.
I'm mute here for a quick second. Let me say this real quick. I don't really know if I've heard anybody give any solutions. Maybe just Dorian Finney-Smith, but I feel like all the answers have been kind of, we should do this. Yeah, we should do that. I don't know. The energy and the mood seems a little bit different. I don't know if it's just me noticing it. You guys may notice it as well, but definitely looks a little bit different.
También es difícil. Siempre hay alguien fuera, siempre hay alguien que no está. Y entonces para construir esta química tenemos que estar todos. Y ahora mismo estamos todos y no podemos permitir que pase eso.
All right, final one.
Luka, as one of the veterans on this team, and one of the leaders on this team, how do you plan to motivate the team to bounce back after this loss?
Did you say vet?
Well, a leader. As one of the leaders on this team, how do you plan to, motivate the team to bounce back, especially with the playoffs approaching?
Yeah, first we gotta get into the playoffs. There's nothing guaranteed in this league, but I think I gotta talk more. Get everybody in position. Trying to be a good leader. I'm still new to the team, but getting more comfortable talking more and more. So we gotta talk more, and then the last thing, we gotta be more physical on both ends.
All right, we'll stop right there. That's Luka talking about the Lakers' loss to the Orlando Magic. 3 losses in a row. Come on, boys. Come on, fellas. All right, let's get a couple more of these in here, and then we'll call it a day. Pacers. It's a toss-up the way we're playing. I wouldn't even call it a toss-up. I'd give the advantage to Indiana. I really would. I'd give the advantage to the Indiana Pacers. I don't like the way the Lakers are playing, and their vibe feels a little bit off, to be honest with you. Amir, thank you again for the super, brother. I appreciate you. Do you think JJ should tinker with the minutes so we can see LeBron and Luka together more rather than staggered, or will it happen in the playoffs? I think right now they gotta be able to get stops. To be honest with you, they need to get stops, because even a lot of the shots, Luka was taking a ton. It almost was like they were telling Luka, hey, why don't you just go off in the first quarter, take as many shots as possible? But he wasn't taking good shots. I mean, offensively for the Lakers, I think a lot of times they get their offense from getting stops, transition buckets, a steal here and there, Luka throwing a couple lobs, LeBron being a quarterback and throwing it. They don't have to get their buckets just from set offensive plays, but you got to get stops on defense, I think, in order for the Lakers to be the best version of themselves. Amir, thank you again. Slee, it all started with that BS G.A.J. pulled against Milwaukee playing the G League lineup. I'm going to tell you something, T-Wrong. There are a lot of people that have been saying that for the last 3 days. They're not happy about it. Get a little of this tonight as well. Luka. Luka is a superstar. I don't see it. Luka will be fine. A little Luka is a con man. Says the exact same thing after every win. Yeah, I think Luka will be fine. Squad's got to be better. If you want me to criticize Luka, I'll tell you that tonight there were possessions where they were just like, we're going at Luka, and they go get buckets. That's what they would go do. All right, let's get one or two more in here, and then we're going to look at the upcoming schedule. So I mentioned they got Pacers coming up on Friday. Or I'm sorry, Pacers coming up on Wednesday. I'm all over the place. They got 4 games this week, so they're going to be – this is still kind of the packed schedule that they had. Something to keep in mind if you're watching this a little bit later, Bulls in Denver, they're tied right now in the third quarter, 69 apiece. So something to keep in mind there. So we'll obviously keep a close eye on that game. There's no other game that will technically affect the Lakers. There's one other game going on, Bucks and the Suns. Celtics and the Kings are 2 games going on. So I guess you could maybe say, all right, it's better for the Lakers if the Kings, they're too far behind. They're not going to, that's not going to really have any effect on the Lakers. All right, let's see if we could find 1 or 2 more comments, and then we're out of here. Let's get John Wayne. John, thank you for the super, brother. Very much appreciated. JJ's given up the 3 while packing the paint because of their lack of size. Tonight, the Magic, who were last in threes made 5 more than the Lakers. It's not a question of effort. It's a philosophy. Yeah, they're going to try to depend on – this is what the Bulls did to them as well, right? They hit so many of those threes and really ended up blowing out the Lakers by the time, that game was all said and done. They can have a game – I wouldn't call it a philosophy. I would call it a game plan. This is their game plan. This is how they're going to win games. But it's one thing if that happens, but our team's still getting layups, points in the paint. Chicago dominated the Lakers' points in the paint. You can't get the threes and dominate points in the paint. You can't be giving up both. It's like with stars. Let me give you an example. Franz Wagner tonight. If Wagner's going to drop 32 on you, you can't let him also get 9 assists. I don't know what points in the paint was, but I'm going to take a quick look at this here real quick. At 48-44, so that's not a big advantage either way. But that's my other issue. My other issue is they kind of got a lot of uncontested baskets in timely matters, and then, of course, they were hitting the threes as well. I think I heard during the broadcast as well, if I'm right here, they had lost 7 in a row at home. 7 in a row. And Orlando, of course, wins tonight. They had the biggest crowd they've ever had in Orlando tonight. Part of that's because Dwight Howard was going into the Magic Hall of Fame, and then obviously the matchup against the Lakers. T-Ron, appreciate you too, brother. Appreciate all you guys. Thank you all for hanging out. I think we're done tonight. Lakers Magic, 52 minutes of a post-game show. I think we're done tonight. Back on tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Looking forward to have that game going, and we'll make it happen from there. So, or the morning show going, and then the next Lakers game we have is going to be on Wednesday. Thank you very much for coming on, everybody. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed. If you want to be an MVP member, you can do that as well. Have a great rest of your night, and I will get back with you guys tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Thank you.